Hello, we are in a hurry, and by we, I mean me. Have to make a last minute dress for a really exciting meeting. It's a meetup, and I can't wait to share with who. I want it to be a nice surprise, but you guys should know this person. Either way, we made last minute plans to meet each other, and of course, being the people that we are, we have to make outfits for the occasion. So let's get to.
For today's pattern, we're going to be using a mail order pattern. It is a prominent designer, Oleg Cassini, and it's made by the company Reader Mail. This pattern was sent to me by Haley Marie Vintage. She's a beautiful creator here on YouTube as well as Instagram, so definitely check out her channel. Thank you again, Haley. This means the world to me. The pattern number is A749 and it's a size 10. Then we turn it over and it shows you the fabric requirements as well as the pattern pieces. This dress comes in a sleeveless style as well as a 3/4 length sleeve. We're going to be going with the sleeveless style for this outfit. It also has the recommended fabric: linen, silk, wool, cotton, and satin, but today we're going to be going with tweed. I always tend to do my own thing once I have a idea popped into my head, so that's what we're going to do. And I'm assuming this is from the 60s just because the zipper is located in the back and the sketch is giving very 60s as well. I've never used this pattern company before, but the sizes do go up to a size 20, which would be a bust 40, waist 32, and a hip 42. And for the fabric, we have this pearl tweed fabric that I saw on Drew's channel. I'm going to link her video. I am so glad she shared this with us. I picked it up from Joanne's Fabric. And if you aren't already subscribed to Drew's channel, you should definitely check her out. She's a wonderful creator as well. Now, I know in the intro I said that I was in a hurry to make this dress, but fortunately for me, it got postponed. Technically, this is the weekend we should have been hanging out and meeting up, but I ended up getting sick a couple days ago, so the fact that we postponed really worked out because then I would have had to cancel probably, so I didn't spread my germs. This also explains my voice. I was hoping to redo the intro once we canceled, but that was the most cheery I was going to sound after getting sick, so we're going with it. For this dress, you're going to want to interline. The pattern calls it a lining, but this truly is interlining, which is lining as well, but it's not a method that covers all of your raw seams since you're going to baste the lining to the main fabric and then treat them as one from that point on. So because I'm working with tweed, I definitely needed to serge some of my edges. I'm probably going to go in with some ribbon and seam tape to cover all of the edges that would not have worked well on the serger. But that's just a heads up, and it's probably also why the fabric requirements did not have tweed on the list. But it works, it trusts me. And you're also going to want to remove any and all the pearls that's within the seam allowances or any darts, and I'm going to show you later on how to remove the pearls without causing any damage to the fabric. When it comes to vintage patterns, there's always a fear for beginners who aren't used to sewing with vintage patterns that the instructions are not as detailed as modern patterns. I've never personally felt that way until using this pattern. This pattern's instructions are kind of vague, like they give you everything you need to know, but I do feel like if you were a beginner, you would be a little bit lost with this pattern because it doesn't go into absolutely every single step. There's some details in here that they could have expounded on, and this is where we are so far. I'm adding some of the diagram photos in like the midway progress so that way you can get an idea of what's going on because I figured it'd be a little bit hard to explain. So now we're adding the other side of the bodice on, and then I go in with some hand basting. I'm basically marking the center front on the fabric using thread because this tweed, I learned from Drew's video that she had a hard time taking the marker off of her tweed, and I only use chalk right now and I didn't want to stain it with my chalk, so I decided to use the chalk on the back side, which is the interfacing, and then mark it on the front using thread. And that's a good way to mark your patterns without like leaving permanent marking on there. Now I am cutting out the lining portion for the back of the dress. For the lining, I'm using a poly cotton instead of like a traditional lining material. Then I interline it on to the main back pieces. This isn't a very hard dress to make. It is pretty quick if you really consider how little pieces there are and if you understand what it is that you are doing. I think the overall look looks way more complex than the actual garment itself. It looks very structured, kind of like a suit, but in a dress. So here I am marking the darts on the back of the dress. These are really simple. I am using a chalk and I really need to order some more chalk because my chalk is kind of dull and they've been broken because I've stepped on them. So now I'm using like little shattered pieces of chalk. I don't know if you caught the video when I hauled this pattern and I talked about how sentimental it was for me to be able to sew up an Oleg Cassini design because whenever I was getting married, I went to a department, I guess like a bridal department store, and they had some of his designs on the rack, and of course they're like under his brand name because he hasn't been alive for a while. Um, but I couldn't afford the dress, and that was like my wedding dress that I truly wanted. And I said I was in love with the dress that I ended up purchasing, but it wasn't the first dress that I loved. And again, I said, truth be told, that if I knew how to sew back then, I probably wouldn't have chose the dress that I ended up choosing, but like I didn't know how to sew at the time. After I learned how to sew, I realized that Oleg Cassini had some patterns, and I thought, hey, this is a really cool opportunity for me to be able to sew one of his designs and wear it. So when Haley offered to send me some patterns that she didn't want to keep and were in my size and I saw this, I absolutely knew I needed to get this pattern and make it. And so I'm really, really excited to make this. I'll probably wear it on one of my anniversary dinners or something too. So here I am putting in the zipper by hand because I want a very seamless, nice look. I didn't want to see the stitches, so I did it invisibly by hand. And now I'm sewing up the shoulder seams. And after the shoulder seams are sewn up, then I move on to the side seams. Back to the Oleg Cassini patterns. This is like one of two that I really wanted to make. The other one that I didn't purchase because I didn't feel at the time when I found it that I had the capability of doing a good job with it. But after sewing this dress, I definitely feel more confident in my sewing skills, and I'll probably go look for it to see if I can get it in my size and make it again in the future. And after all of this is sewn up, the dress is pretty much complete. Now you just need to add some facings. For the facing, I did use the tweed fabric for all the facings, but I removed all of the pearls on those. So for the shoulder facing and then the front facings, I completely removed all of the pearls, and here I'm going to show you how. So you're going to get an old sewing machine needle. I recommend this over a pin because you might bend the pin that you want to use. So I just use my old needle for this because they're also stronger than pins. And then you're going to get underneath that back metal piece, and you're going to stick it under there because it's kind of like stuck in like a staple. So once you can slide your needle under there, you can push up on the metal staple and it pops the back off, and off comes the bead. I really wish that I had a setting tool for this because in the back where I took off some of them where it was in the way of the darts and the seams, I wish I could add them back after the fact to really fill it in. So this is probably something I'm going to look into later because I know there is a tool that you can purchase. So I hope this is really helpful for you guys. If you happen to have anything with rhinestones or pearls, you can take them off without tearing or damaging your fabric, especially if you're working with a tool that's similar. All there's left to do now is to hem the dress and add the buttons. For the buttons, I'll temporarily be using 10 vintage buttons that I have on hand. I was planning on getting new buttons, but when I got sick, I thought it was best for me to stay inside instead of getting other people sick for the sake of buttons. So for the sake of time, I will be using gold buttons here, and I'll probably be wearing gold buttons when I meet with my friend as well, but in the future, they might be swapped out. Thank you guys so much for your patience. Thank you for supporting my channel. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like it. If you would like to support my channel any further, you can leave me a virtual tip over on Ko-fi or become a bobbin over on Patreon. The links will be below, but of course the best free way to support my channel is to like, comment, and share. I went with the gold buttons as stated previously because that's all I had on hand. But let me know, do you think I should make covered button in tweed or go with maybe white and black or leave it as is? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching and again for your patience with this later upload. I truly appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing your thoughts below and I will check you out in the next one. Bye.